Welcome to The Explainer. You know, sometimes you see two neighbors who start out in almost the same place, but end up in wildly different situations. Well, that's exactly the story we're diving into today, the stark economic tale of India and Pakistan. And check out this quote that really sets the stage. It comes from Pakistan, and it highlights this really powerful paradox. It says, "We defeated the world's fourth largest army on the battlefield, but on the economic front, they are defeating us." Wow. You can just feel the pride in their military might. But right alongside it, there's this really tough admission of economic hardship, especially when they look over at India. So that's the big question, right? How on earth did two nations that were once pretty much economic equals end up in such different places? To get to the bottom of it, we've got to go back in time, way back, to find the exact moment their paths started to split. All right, let's get into our first section, when paths diverged. And here's something that might surprise you. The economic picture we see today is actually a complete reversal of how things used to be. Yeah, believe it or not, for a long time, Pakistan was actually ahead. I mean, look at this. Back in the 60s, the average person in Pakistan earned more than the average person in India. Even in the 80s, Pakistan's per capita income was a good bit higher than China's. But then the 1990s happened, and that was the game changer. India kicked off these massive economic reforms. They opened up their markets, they rolled out the red carpet for foreign investment, and that single decision basically changed everything. It put them on a whole new track and really laid the groundwork for the huge gap we see today. Okay, so now let's look at the economic scorecard today. And let me tell you, we're not talking about a small gap anymore. It's an absolute chasm. The data really tells the story here. First, let's just talk about the raw size of these economies. India's GDP, a massive $4.2 trillion. That puts them at number 5 in the entire world. And Pakistan? Around 400 billion, ranking 40th. Let that sink in. India's economy isn't just bigger, it's more than 10 times the size of Pakistan's. That's a staggering difference. All right, now look at this number, $687 billion. So what is that? That's India's foreign exchange reserves. Think of it like a country's emergency savings account. It's what you use to stay stable and ride out any financial storms. And India's is, well, it's huge. And now, Pakistan's, just 21 billion. So you do the math, that's 34 times smaller. It just goes to show you the massive difference in their financial cushion, in their ability to handle any kind of economic surprise that gets thrown their way. Okay, but what does all this big picture stuff mean for regular people? Well, let's look at per capita income, basically the average amount of money a person makes in a year. In India, it's about $2,800. In Pakistan, it's just over $1,800. That's a 55% difference. And that's not just a number on a screen. That affects everything. What you can buy, your quality of life, everything. And this pattern, it just keeps going no matter where you look. Take exports. India sells about $824 billion worth of stuff to the world. Pakistan, around $40 billion. That's over 20 times less. Look at foreign investment, same story. And then you have things like debt and unemployment, where Pakistan's rate is frankly more than double India's. The picture couldn't be clearer. These two economies are on totally different trajectories. So, when you see numbers like that, the obvious question is, why? How did this happen? Well, the analysis really zeroes in on two huge reasons for this growing gap: stability versus instability. First up is governance and policy. Think about it. For the last 25 plus years, India has had incredible policy continuity. Leaders like Manmohan Singh and later Modi, they were able to push through these deep, long-term reforms and, this is the key part, stick with them. They opened up the economy and it paid off. Now contrast that with Pakistan. The source material calls it political musical chairs. With so much instability and leaders changing all the time, it was almost impossible for any long-term economic plan to actually stick and have a chance to work. And the second major piece of the puzzle? Investing in people, human capital. Just look at these numbers. Higher education enrollment in India is more than double Pakistan's. When you look at the top 1,000 universities in the world, India has 41, Pakistan has 4. And it starts even earlier, with way more kids dropping out of primary school in Pakistan. It all comes down to investment. And when one country consistently invests in its people and the other doesn't, that advantage just compounds year after year. It's a massive reason for the gap we see today. All right, so with all this data on the table, what's the takeaway? What's the path forward? This brings us to a really crucial point about redefining national strength. This source material puts it pretty bluntly with this quote: "Burying our heads in the sand like an ostrich won't work." The point is, the very first step is just to face the music, to stop ignoring these economic facts and just be honest about the situation. And that leads to this bigger idea. Maybe it's time to redefine what it even means to be a strong nation. The argument here is that, yeah, a powerful military is one thing, but you can't sustain that strength without a powerful, self-sufficient economy to back it up. In the 21st century, the real victory, the real foundation for security, is economic. So that leaves us with this final thought to chew on. In the world we live in today, what's the true measure of a nation's strength? Is it the number of tanks and jets you have? Or is it the potential of your people, the resilience of your economy, and your ability to innovate and compete? This story of India and Pakistan really suggests the answer to that question is going to shape the world for a long, long time to come. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.